Meeting of the Green Bay Public Art Commission. Today is Wednesday, April 24th, 2019. It's 8 o'clock, it's 8:03. We're in City Hall, room 604. Roll call quick. Ken Hutchison, I'm here. Vice Chair Alex Zacharias.
Present.
Alderman Randy Scannell.
Yo-ho.
Matt Buchanan.
Here.
Kelly Strickland is not here. She had already let us know she's not coming. Liaisons, Beth Lemke from Neville.
Here.
Paul Groff from Civic Symphony.
Here.
Okay. So today we're going to be voting on our tablets, those of us who are commissioners. So we haven't really been paying attention to that too much, so we're going to go a little bit slower so that our staff over here can just be on par with us, but make sure that we do vote on the tablets. And is there an amendment that we need to make for the agenda?
I'll motion to make an amendment to the agenda, moving section D1 to D4, I guess.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Do we have to vote for that?
Yeah. Oh, actually, do we have to vote for that one? I don't
Nope,
think.
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
fine, we'll
Let's
do a
verbal.
voice vote for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, then, can I get approval for the agenda for April 24th today?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good.
Whoa, slow down, slow down, slow down.
Oh, these ones are just
Yep,
verbal.
these are just
Right,
verbal.
but,
Regular business, we're gonna be doing tablet.
right.
We're good.
Oh, you're good? Okay, boy. Protection policy.
Appreciate the kindness, though.
We have to go slower at protection of policy. You guys got it going, okay.
So, is there approval of the minutes for March 27th?
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Very good. We have a very special guest with us today. The mayor of Green Bay is here.
Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no, it's a real pleasure. Just wanted to drop by and thank you all for participating in the Public Arts Commission. Thanks to Randy Alderman Scannell for initiating this process and ushering it through. I think it says a lot about where we're headed as a community. So just wanted to recognize your good work and also make the point that I understand that there's some difficult funding questions associated with the commission. So I'm committed to making the commission a priority, both with city funding, but also external fundraising and all the rest, because I think it really needs to be a part of our agenda going forward. If we're interested in being a forward-looking 21st century city, arts and culture are a huge piece of that puzzle. So keeping it brief, but thanks a lot for everything you're doing. Obviously, you know where to reach me, so feel free to reach out within the context of the Public Arts Commission or outside of it. Just really want to be an advocate and supportive of you all.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And this was, I think, the first time an actual mayor has been in our commission with us, so I really appreciate that. And you're always welcome to come anytime you want and sit in and partake in the conversation.
Cool. I'll be back.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Eric.
Have a great day. Thanks, Eric. Okay, so we're going to move right along then with our regular business. Item number 1 is discussion with the Sustainability Commission. And we do have a representative, we have 2 representatives actually from the commission today. So can I get a motion to open the floor?
Motion open the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. The floor is open. Is there anybody who'd like to speak on behalf of the Sustainability Commission?
I guess that's me. Mind if I just come sit at the
No, no,
table?
Please,
All
introduce
right.
yourself and say your full name
I
and
won't
address.
fight.
All right. Hey everybody, I'm Seth Hoffmeister. I'm the chair of the Sustainability Commission here.
And your address.
And I live at 1136 Law Street here in Green Bay. So thank you for having me here. It's really good to talk to and meet with another commission. I guess I just want to take a little bit of time today to introduce our commission, tell you a little bit about some of our goals, and open it up for any questions. So our commission, I think, is probably the newest one here in the city of Green Bay. My day job, I work with a group called Wisconsin Conservation Voters, and we've been partnering with a group called Joshua for the last few years on a number of environmental issues. We've worked on state level issues, federal issues, and we really realized that our best opportunity to take action at the local level on all things sustainability, or to take action in general, was going to be on the local level. I'm sorry, you guys get me before I've had a full cup of coffee here today. And we set about to create I guess we looked at our city and saw a whole bunch of opportunities in terms of what we could do to make our community more sustainable, but we didn't really have a door into the city. We looked at what other communities like in Milwaukee or Madison or La Crosse or Eau Claire are doing, and there was infrastructure at the city level to take on these decisions and to work on these. Whether it's Milwaukee, who has an entire office set up, or if it's like Eau Claire that has an advisory commission, or anywhere in between. So we actually approached Alderman Scannell here to pitch the idea to set up a commission on sustainability, and by October we had our first meeting. So I guess when you talk about sustainability, you can really talk about anything. It is such a broad topic, and sometimes it's one of those just like words that people throw out there. When I think about sustainability, I think about the balance between the environment, between the economy, and our social well-being. So really finding that sweet spot between the three in terms of what other issue we're talking about. The issue that really motivates me, and one that we decided to be a big priority, was renewable energy. I guess in our first few months of meeting, we've both identified major issues to work on, and we've also just done a little bit of fact-finding to see what the city is already doing. Our main scope as a commission is to do a few things. I think it's we're really lucky to have a lot of experts in a lot of different fields, and with a lot of different passions and experiences on our commission, so we're able to look at what other cities are doing in terms of other sustainability practices, come up with recommendations that work for Green Bay, and to pass them along in an advisory capacity here. Another thing that we've been doing is really just looking at what we're already doing so we can tell that story better. But when we sat down and I guess our first meeting and throughout our first couple meetings, the major goals that we identified were, like I said, renewable energy, green infrastructure, and stormwater management. Obviously, that's a huge problem we've been having in Green Bay here. And when we talk about climate change, there's preventing it from getting worse by investing in renewable energy, but it's also accepting that we're also living in the age of climate change, and we need to figure out how we can be a resilient 21st century community. There's also goals around zero waste, sustainable transportation, and ecological management, like Phragmites and things like that. Did I miss anything? I think those are all of our big buckets. We're also really curious about the comprehensive planning phases that are going to be going on, and figuring out how we can help with that process. But those are our major goals, and I guess I was really excited. I mean, this new mayor we got here is already doing good stuff on his third day in office last week, and in honor of Earth Day, he pledged commitment to the renewable energy work plan that we had put together a few months ago. It really just lays out how we're going to go about bringing stakeholders together to come up with policy ideas to set us on a path towards a 100% renewable energy future. And the mayor on Friday made that pledge that he supports it, which was really exciting to see. So now, with the new administration, I'm really looking forward to figuring out how we can work more together on that. But I guess in terms of our Sustainability Commission, it's not so much what we've done yet, but what I think we can do. I think that there are so many great folks in the community, so many great folks working in the city with a lot of the same goals. So it's really our job to just be that hub, to bring those ideas together and to put them into action. So I think in a more abstract sense, when I think about sustainability, I think nature is beautiful, nature is art. So I'd be really open to any ideas or possible collaborations with this commission, because I think that a vital arts and cultural scene is super important to our city. So if there's any ideas there, that would be really great and welcome on an ongoing basis. So that's really my pitch.
Mm-hmm. You said you partnered with Joshua?
Mhm.
What is Joshua?
They're, I don't know what the acronym stands for. Justice Organizing Something.
S is something.
The S is something.
It is something.
They're a social justice faith-based group, so they have a lot of different church congregations that are members, and they are a part of the Wisdom Network.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just social justice community organizing.
Okay.
So they have an environmental justice task
I
force.
actually produced a video for them on public transportation.
Oh, cool.
Which I think is important
Mhm.
as far as your commission is infrastructure of transportation. One of the things that keeps people, like major cities, talking about major cities, is just access. So public transportation is crucial.
Yeah, I agree.
How long have you guys been around for, did you say?
We had our first meeting at the end of October. And then we meet monthly, the second Wednesday of every month in this room at 5 p.m. So y'all are more than welcome to attend.
Yeah, okay. Have you, and do you have, so you're advisory?
Yes.
To the common council and to the mayor's office.
Mhm.
Have you set up any infrastructure, because we're still trying to figure out how we communicate within disciplines and, you know, what would be the best ways to do that? Have you found ways that work really well yet, or?
So one of the things that we've been doing just regularly at our meetings is having different city departments come in to just establish that relationship and to just figure out what folks are doing. I was really surprised that how much good things were already happening in parks and public works and economic development, and it's just creating more of a cohesive narrative, I think, is going to be our job.
Right, okay. What do we think? How can the arts play a role in the sustainability?
Well, just thinking a couple ideas off the top of my head, in ways that our two commissions could partner. I could totally see us maybe commissioning an art piece that also doubles as like solar panels or windmills or something like that, since renewable energy is a primary focus for you guys right now, or one of your goals. I'm sure there's plenty of other art pieces that could double up as infrastructure for sustainability. And just thinking off the top of my head, I'm sure we could.
It's a great idea.
One thing
When
that
we're
comes-
talking about bus shelters, like
Yeah.
making
Right.
them look more attractive, more
Oh.
enticing,
Yeah.
which supports public transportation.
And I don't know what city it was, but the buses themselves
Mhm.
are, rolling wheels galleries.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So that people actually go and access
That'd be
those.
cool, compared to ads, just
Right,
billboards.
totally.
First thing that comes to my mind is the project you're doing, the farmery,
Mhm.
just kind of a
Sustainability thing.
cycle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, the Sustainability Commission is new. Are you trying to get your name out there, just to, like, tell the public that you're around? Like, is that something, that's one of your missions, or?
Yeah, I think that's a big thing on our agenda, is just to let folks that know that we exist and what our purpose is. So I think that we have a lot of great folks that sit at our table, but I think that to actually have an effective any solution around sustainability, we need community support, community buy-in. So tell your friends.
Yeah.
We exist.
Well, also, like in projects that Paul's talking about,
Yeah.
and maybe something else that we designed specifically that encapsulates renewable energy in some way. Maybe there could be a letter of support written by the Sustainability Commission that could help leverage what you're doing, and then we can highlight that in on a plaque or whatever. But because sustainability, having a sustainable outlook with the arts in a community is obvious.
Mhm.
Like, that's like one of the purposes of establishing the GBPAC, is that we're creating infrastructure that's long-lasting, which is a sustainable, idea. So, outside of projects, I'm sure there's other ways that the GBPAC and Sustainability Commission can definitely hold hands.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any other ideas?
Oh, welcome. This is awesome.
This is really great. Thank you for establishing that and taking the initiative. It's not always easy to do that, so.
Yeah, well, there's been so much support in the community. I think that we can really do some good things, and thanks for inviting me here today, too.
Definitely. Okay. Thank you very much, Steph.
Thanks. So cheers.
Any other questions? Great.
Well done.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yep.
I gotta go to
Close
work
the
now.
floor.
Hey, yeah, motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thanks, Steph.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving right along, consideration with possible action on request from Alder Brian Johnson to create a community art wall located on 5th Street under the Ashland Avenue Viaduct. Yeah, so since you're an alderman, I don't believe we need to open the floor. You can just have a seat with us.
Yeah, so this request it was initiated through contact of Officer Lenz, who is a community police officer over in this area. There is a wall, I don't know if you guys have the photo. Ta-da. So this is the wall that's near the community garden, which is photo on the right, there's a community garden kind of on the end on the left-hand side of that street. This is just kind of a, really not a traveled street.
Yeah.
Think of what this is
Is this
actually.
Sixth?
How have I
What's-
not?
what street
This
is
is
it?
Fifth, I
Fifth
believe.
Street,
Yep.
okay.
So, and it's, yeah, this is, so if you guys think of the Ashland Avenue Viaduct, this is just underneath there. So this wall has been a chronic problem for the PD in that they get a lot of graffiti artists down on this wall. And so after Officer Lenz and I had got to talking, we were thinking about other cities where you've seen community art walls, where they're just walls that are available for people to paint on and share their art. And we thought that this might be a productive way to maybe channel some of these graffiti artists into something maybe a little bit more productive, while at the same time allowing us to experiment with this concept in an area that isn't as well traveled. So that's this way, proof of concept, right? You do a pop-up, you see if it works, and then perhaps it's something you can recreate in a more heavily trafficked area. So the way that I see it, I think the biggest maintenance would be, of course, just making sure that nothing inappropriate goes out there. People kind of follow some rules, general guidelines. Occasionally you might need to whitewash it and,
Start over,
create a new opportunity for some artists to come around, but I would kind of defer to the Public Arts Commission on what those rules and guidelines might look like, but that's the general idea.
With the graffiti now, is there inappropriate or gang or anything? Is
No, I'm just saying in general, that's one of the critiques oftentimes you see with community art walls.
Right. Well, but now, we've had people doing graffiti. Has there been inappropriate?
I don't know if it's
or
been
has there
inappropriate, but it is something that gets painted over, as you can see.
Yeah.
Let me, I went to, in Austin, Texas, they have Graffiti Park. And what's beautiful about that, it's not just the artists, but it's just the everyday family members. They'll have cans available, so a kid old enough to spray can do art.
Sure.
And then what's really nice is there are artists themselves that can sell some of their work there as well, so it's an opportunity for artists to be discovered.
And it would be a real easy street to close off. There wouldn't be a lot of traffic. I don't think that would be offended. If you wanted to host some community events over there around the wall, generate some neighborhood interest in what's happening. But, this is a neighborhood with a high density of children as well. So I think it could be a great outlet for them.
Do you know what neighborhood association? Is there a neighborhood association in that area?
It's
No.
Tank, and I don't think it's
Not right now, it's
active
not
right
active.
They've tanked?
Thanks,
I
Natalie.
think it's Tank.
So how do you envision this program looking? Like, if it was facilitated through the GBPAC, would it require funding? How would the GBPAC be playing a role in this, do you think?
I think the oversight, and if it does require some paint over, if there is something offensive, that they take care of it. And I think, the cost of the paint likely, right, that we'll
Yeah.
have to go over it.
Definitely.
The one thing for which I don't have an answer is, that's an Ashland Avenue Viaduct, so I believe that's city-owned, as opposed to, like a state-owned wall, but.
It's city-owned. I reached out to Steve to see what we would need to do as far as permissions or how we would go about creating something like that. I'm just waiting on a response. But it is city-owned.
And if
So
this
they
is
may
the
need to
first
go
step
to
that
purpose
needs to
service
occur, and then we go to
Yeah.
INS, that's fine. But I think you guys, to me, would be the primary driver on something like this.
Yeah, we would, well, I can't speak for everybody, but I think I would definitely be in support of at least writing a letter of support for the project initiative. Definitely. We don't have jurisdiction on that actual wall, but we would be able to write a letter of support you can take to whoever does. And I think this idea is fantastic. This is an idea that I think we should heavily support and try not to have too much oversight on. Like, let the art and the artists develop it on its own. Like, I don't think we want to curate this.
Yeah, and the only way that I'm actually looking for you to curate it is if there are legitimately offensive things.
Absolutely,
Right.
yeah. But I don't think we need to have artists, like, give us a proposal, and then we wait for the month, and we discuss it, and then we give it back.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So we can curate, the subject matter, maybe, if there's something offensive on there. Maybe we should just keep an eye on that. We can all be, I drive by this all the time. Yes, Allison?
So, Laura, this is something you need to talk to the city attorney about, because it seems like
It's new
you're
territory,
talking
kind
about
of.
a freedom of speech issue,
Mhm.
and what's offensive to one person is not offensive to someone else. And so we can regulate time, place, and manner of speech. And so the question is whether or not the graffiti, in what way graffiti is speech, so that's a conversation with the city attorney.
So I mean, could we just easily adopt a set of rules that says, these are the rules of the wall that you post on site, and if the rules are violated, so for example, no
Yeah.
profanity.
Yeah.
But an artist,
I think that's a
as
city
an artist,
attorney
I might
issue.
disagree with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
But it's still, I mean, even now, people are graffitiing it now, and it gets painted over. So, I mean, you could still, if we have a First Amendment issue, we got it already. Because it's already being used. People are already doing
Except
it.
they're
But they don't
not being
have
given
permission.
permission.
They don't have permission to paint it.
Ah,
We're
So
really
that's
getting
permission
permission
makes-
you should have with the city.
That's correct. I think that's a great conversation that we had in a progressive city that's talking about public art. Like, where do we stand on this? What are the rules that we need to vet out? So, yeah, maybe we do need to come up with a plaque or something that has the city's attorney's guidelines of what's Second Amendment speech.
From
First-
other community
first-
walls that I've seen, they do have guidelines, and they actually have like a contact email just to reach out. They ask for like, hey, just let us know when you're gonna be painting it. Obviously, not everyone's going to reach out to get permission or anything like that. But they do have kind of guidelines basically stating this is a public area, like we'd appreciate, like, express your creativity, but if it is deemed inappropriate, it will be removed. Which then they just whitewash over it, and then people take over and do more stuff. I've also seen other programs where they have a wall that's open, but basically an artist would get a permit. I'm not particularly fond of that, because I feel like people are just gonna bypass the permit anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not,
That defeats the purpose.
I don't think I want to see that either.
So I think having, if we were to secure the wall, get permission from INS to actually be able to utilize this wall, and then check in with law department and see what we're able to set up for parameters.
Well, I think if we make a rule that we just have the authority to whitewash at any time for any reason, because there might become a time where it's completely full,
You just want to turn it over.
and we want to turn it over. So, I think if we just say, we reserve the right to whitewash at any time, for any reason.
Sure.
Or I'm just even, just as an alternative thought, I'm seeing, you've got some nice lines, if you will, that kind of break up the wall. Could it be something where you reserve a panel for a month, or 2 months, or whatever the right time frame is? And then that way, an artist is guaranteed that their art will stay on display for at least a certain period of time.
And then another thing that at Graffiti Park, what I saw was, there was the wall, but then, look at this sidewalk, look at, even the trees were painted. So, when you're policing, I think it's gonna be much more than the wall, because that street may become, a canvas as well. So-
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, we're talking about two different programs. I think they both are successful. This one where we're not having so much oversight, the one where we do govern, I think we could allocate dollars for that, and those ones are also very successful, where we have a wall that's in prime location, we allocate some dollars to it. We had talked about that very early on in the GBPAC, but this wouldn't be that one. This would be, I think, something that happens spontaneously in the art world, and then, we.
If all we need is, essentially it would be primer and some rollers and
We could allocate
me
that.
taking time, like once a month or every other week, to go out and check the wall and make sure there's nothing inappropriate up there. Wouldn't we
Some waiting.
partner with the community maybe and see if we could get some local paint companies to, maybe they want to sponsor the wall and,
Get it donated.
yeah, that might,
Or even just like paint, like Target or Walmart or something like that, that'll just give you those materials.
yeah.
Or Home Depot, we've secured materials from those stores before for other projects, and it's really easy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could see that as a way of maybe making it, since we don't have funds for really anything.
Yeah.
I think this is something.
Making this a cheap, because I love the idea.
Yeah,
I do too.
I think we all do. So I think we need to come up with a title, see what the city attorney has to say about the First Amendment stuff, and find out how the GBPAC can help promote this in a way that will help us get that wall from Public Works or from whoever is jurisdiction on that.
Yeah, do we
wall.
need, I mean, do you need someone to get this on the INS agenda?
Eventually, yeah.
Or,
I have a feeling it's gonna have to go there.
okay,
And
can
get
you
permission.
get it on the chart?
I mean, I'll call Steve and find
Thank you.
out what we have to do to, maybe Steve can just give us permission, that'd be great, but.
Yeah, I sent them an email this week just showing them the wall and kind of explaining what we were thinking.
Well, who's,
Okay.
it's been P&W that's been maintaining the wall so far?
DPW
DP or, yeah?
would be my
What I
guess, is that
said.
they just go out there and paint over.
Well,
it.
whatever, yeah, yeah. I had
So
some
what's the
ideas
difference
for
if
this,
you have old
then I
paint
hit a
and
wall.
You know how that works.
Is there a working title for this initiative at all?
No, I would defer to you guys. Maybe something that represents the neighborhood.
Okay. Tank wall?
That's
Oh,
not gonna be
That's a
tank.
thankless
You
job.
should call it the Johnson Wall.
Yeah, I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to commit to the neighborhood concept, but
Yeah.
it might be something nice.
I think, just like graffiti wall is a kind of an attractive idea, because really, you're honing the graffiti artists.
Mhm.
Just have, and that's recognizable, easy to understand, that's what it is, graffiti wall, I don't know.
Viaduct gallery,
Viaduct gallery.
under the line.
Under the viaduct.
Yeah, okay, well, we got some work to do there. Well, this is great, I think this is something that the GBPAC would like to help.
I can see our logo up there.
Yeah, sure, yeah, maybe it's on the plaque that we put on there.
And I think, Alex, to your point about, obviously, we don't want to see this go off the wall. No pun, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, you did, yeah, you
Don't
did.
take. But, maybe something like, if we do post some rules or something, kind of like, hey, if you're respectful of this space, more of them could come. Just kind of reminding people.
Yeah, right,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
And more visible places,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, okay, so the next steps would be for Laura to discuss the city attorneys, what we have as far as literature on the First Amendment stuff. We don't want to cross any boundaries there, and then taking it to INS.
Do you want someone maybe make a motion to support the program and then further, go through the steps to figure out how to get it done?
Yeah,
Basically, right?
So,
The motion would be to support this Fifth Street Wall Initiative for graffiti artists, and to help develop its program.
Yep.
Tentatively called the graffiti wall.
Sure, the graffiti wall, we can
Tentatively.
tentatively call it.
Tentatively.
Yeah.
A working name.
Yep. so
And I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do it on here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have to do it on
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Ads.
Here.
You're moving up, man.
Yes. Dave? And does something happen when everyone has,
They'll tell us.
That's it.
it'll tell us?
Yeah, they're gonna enter in the motion and then that will pop up for you to vote.
Yeah. We voted.
Good? Yep. Okay, very good.
Cool, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thanks, man.
Okay, next on the list, I'm sorry, Ann, you're at the end. so- You got some time to kick with us now?
I get to watch. Well,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
That is good, yeah.
The next item on the agenda is consideration with possible action on further development of the Green Bay Public Arts Commission programming. Okay, if you could all refer to the GBPAC program evolution and expansion. Did you get my joke, Laura? Just abbreviate it, P.
Yes.
Yes.
I took it off of there.
That was good. I think Randy would have appreciated that.
I did.
Yeah, okay, good. So, what are we doing with our programs, and what do we want them to do? How do we want to impact the community with our programming? So far, we've had a limitation that's been based on our dollars, and I think this is basically just an outline of projected initiatives that are taking our existing programs and helping them get more robust. So if we do get the dollars that we're looking for, that we're seeking with fundraising, we will have the opportunity to make these programs more robust. So this is a plan that I put together that that outlines the RAP program, the Rotating Arts program, and the annual grants program, what phase 1 and phase 2 might look in their expansion if we are able to secure more dollars. So I'll just run through it real quick. Rotating Arts program, the RAP program, in the next 1 to 2 years, if we are able to secure some more funding, I think it would be great if we could develop the remaining 4 concrete pads that we've already identified, and then increase the award from 500 to 1,000 for 1 year. And I don't know if you're aware that Deep Pier has just started up a very similar Rotating Arts type, they're calling it the Art Walk, where they allocate $1,000 to artists to do a temporary, I think it's not even a year. I think it's less than a year. So they're giving 1,000 artists, and then they have a $15,000 award for their Public Choice Award. So that's a fairly robust, something that's happening right outside our boundaries, which is great. I think it's great that they're doing that. But I
Kent,
think
who's running that program? Is it the
Tina
city
Quigley.
or is it?
Tina Quigley.
So it's the.
It's a faction that works
The bid?
very closely
It
with
is the bid.
the
It's the bid?
city.
Yeah, okay.
She wants the bid, right?
Yeah. So that's great. It's an awesome thing that actually helps leverage the things that we're doing. And Tina and I have talked about how we could join forces other ways, and I think we should discuss that down the road. But anyways, the status quo for those Rotating Arts programs is not $500. That's a little bit below. So over the next 5 to 10 years, maybe identifying 10 to 20 more concrete pads on a map that we can have in the back burner. Consider longer stints. I've seen other programs, not in Wisconsin, but outside of Wisconsin, that are 2 to 5 year commitments, and they're awarding $1,500. If it's a large scale piece, maybe someone doesn't want to pick it up after 1 year. So maybe they just want to let it kick there for a while. I think that should be a consideration that we think of. So that's all for the Rotating Arts program. Any discussion there, or
No.
feelings?
But we're hoping, actually, this is more like a gallery and people will buy. Community
Exactly,
buy.
yeah.
So hopefully they're there less than a year.
Right, yep.
Just a real quick question, Ken. Are you proposing that we commit to making these changes today, or after we figure out our funding situation?
I think the motion that I would make is adopt this expansion policy as a reference for our future. Like, we don't have to commit ourselves to all these things, but I do want us to consider these ideas and to,
Adopt as a guideline.
So maybe
Yeah,
like
as a guideline.
adopt it as an addendum to our, our existing strategic plan?
Yes, yep,
Okay.
as a reference at this point. We don't have to make these set in stone yet, but yes,
Right.
as an addendum to reference.
I really like where it's going. I agree with it. The only concern I have, of course, is being able to commit dollars that we don't have.
Right.
So I think once we do have that figured out, then I'd be all for this.
But it's not only dollars, it's insurance, right?
That's
Well,
another piece as
Yeah,
well.
so
Maintenance.
this is just something that is projected in the circumstance that we do meet our fundraising. Or actually, if we just continue to go and we're finding funding from other sources, who knows where it's coming from. If the GBPAC is acquiring more money and we're able to step up our programming, we should consider these initiatives as
And
reference.
if that's available for potential funders to see,
Exactly.
it's like, oh, what a nice menu, I'm gonna order
Yeah,
this.
that's-
Yep, yep, that's also something that, this is the direction that we're going. We're thinking about the future. With your help, you can help leverage these programs and make a bigger impact in Green Bay. So the other one is the annual grants program, a 1 to 2 year plan. This is phase 1, would be to award $5,000, not $1,500, and not to be matched. So right now it's $1,500 to be matched. I'm proposing that should the dollars arrive, we have a $5,000 award not to be matched. That doesn't mean we have to give $5,000 to everyone who's applying. We'd still, at least from my experience, if someone did have an alternative source of income for that project, we would value that and award accordingly. But I think if there's a project that someone comes up with that is asking for, up to $5,000, and this person, for whatever reason, cannot get that match dollars, we shouldn't hold that against that project. We should move forward with it if we deem it necessary.
5,000 or 10,000?
Well, the 1 to 2 year is 5,000. That's phase 1. And then the phase 2, 5 to 10 years, would be a $10,000. And that's robust. That's like pie in the sky. I don't know if there's another agency in Wisconsin that does something like that. It's just a $10,000 grant for a public art project that's municipally run. Is there? Like Madison has some, but
Madison has some, there are, yeah.
this would be pretty cutting edge.
Usually it's a matching thing.
Yeah, right. So I think this would attract artists like from outside of Green Bay to, put artwork in Green Bay, because they can't take these dollars and put that money outside of Green Bay. That artwork needs to stay in Green Bay. So should we get the money, and we're bursting at the seams, this is phase 2, this is pie in the sky, but I think that would be amazing. That would be awesome. And also the showcase, so Cheryl and I and Laura were talking about this other, like what happens if we get another WPS project, or someone else who just really finds an initiative or an incentive to do a public art piece, either visual or performing, and they want to make an impact and they want to tie their name to it. That would be a showcase program where maybe it's like exceeds $10,000, who knows what it's at. And it wouldn't really fit the package of an annual grant program. The annual grants programs are a little bit different, but the GBPAC should have some type of program that would help facilitate a larger gift like this. So we roughly were discussing a showcase idea where we could help facilitate companies to give big in the realm of the arts that would be non-traditional, not like an annual grants program that would be otherwise. So that's what the showcase program is. Any questions about that one? It would be a basic facilitation like we did the WPS.
It'd be facilitating sponsors of
Yeah.
pieces rather than money out of our program.
Right.
which
Yeah, do you have any
think-
extra comments on
I
that?
feel like you'd have to seek out like the big corporations.
We
and
would.
Have them do a larger project, which would be great.
Yeah, I would love spending other
Lots
people's
of-
money. Let's do that.
I'm down with that too. So you just like making that process easier for people or companies like WPS to give to the GBPAC or give to the city, really.
So this is mostly for us now because we really can't put that out there yet.
Yes. Yep.
So this is just a wish list that we
Yep.
put together.
Yeah.
Well, wish lists are free, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Is there any amendments that you'd like to see? Is anything out of order, or is anything like shooting too low, or how else do you think this could be amended to benefit?
I'm not sure. I'm just having a hard time deciding any dollar amount until we have a better understanding of how much we're
This-
gonna have.
Right. This is just a reference. This
Yeah.
isn't like something that we have. This is just showing
Right.
that,
Yeah.
you know.
I think as a guideline, it's a good thing to kind of shoot for. It kind of
Mhm.
gives us an idea where we'd like to be.
Sure.
But then we may have to adjust reality, we'll see.
Right.
Maybe depending if we, with the dollar amounts, depending upon how things go, maybe we can raise.
Right.
Or maybe we'll have to lower, or maybe we'll be spot on here. I mean, it's just a guideline to, I think that's our intentions, no, I think anybody seeing this would realize that.
Right.
Yeah, maybe we just need to have change the title so it kind of speaks to that.
Even like P.
I think
Program
this
Evolution
is-
Extension.
I mean, what you've proposed is basically just a greater detail of what's already in the strategic plan.
Yeah.
So I think we could pull these items and place them within the strategic plan because we've already listed off, expand current annual grant and rotating art programs to provide greater assistance to artists, whether that's through expanding the dollar amount, expanding how many pads we offer. I think it's just a greater detail of what's already in here.
So the motion should be to amend our, with these details.
Strategic plan.
The
Sure, yep.
strategic plan with these details.
Yep.
Okay.
So I second it.
One question I had as far as, under annual grants and then that showcase.
Yep.
It's listed as, these programs may be treated independent of any other internal constraints or restrictions. What is?
That was, so the annual grants program has some constraints. The rotating arts program has some constraints as far as like location, dollar amounts allocated. So basically, they would function independently and would be developed based on their own rules, set of rules that we decide
On a case-by-case basis.
on a case by case, yeah. It's just, you know, I debated whether or not to put that in there, but, you know, that just prevents us from having that someone making that argument that, well, in the annual grants program, it says this. But
So in other words, you're in the larger showcase pieces that would not fall under the annual, any of the other
Exactly.
programs we have.
It's
That's really,
completely
we're gonna
independent.
define that as a
I'm
separate.
seeing that as like a commissioned piece. I
It'd be
mean,
a
I would
separate
love to
program.
do like a yearly, like $10,000-$20,000 permanent piece that's owned by the city.
Bingo.
Whereas with annual grants, it gets to be a little trickier because we don't always own those pieces.
Exactly.
Um,
Yep. So that item would help alleviate that conversation
Okay.
and run more smoothly and give more autonomy to the showcase program.
So we can remove that from the annual grant portion.
Is that in the, oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I think I just misplaced that actually. That one should have been below.
And did we
Yeah.
call, in the strategic plan, do we have showcase
Nope.
listed? Okay, so it's
Yeah.
kind of nice to have that name to that, because
Okay.
like if I'm making an ask about saying, I'm like, well,
Totally.
we don't want to give you money, but what if we do a piece? Oh, we have the showcase program opportunity that if you wanted to donate 50,000, we'll
Right.
do a piece for you in the
It's
company's
just
name.
listed as produce 6 or more public art projects each year with one large-scale project worth between 10 to 20,000.
But we don't call it showcase,
Yeah.
right?
No.
Let's call it showcase, that sounds good.
So
We can
we-
showcase it then.
So we'd amend the, I'm sorry, what are we calling that document?
The strategic plan. Yeah.
We'd amend the strategic plan
With these
based on
details.
these notes.
Don't move.
I wonder if we could talk just a little bit about the matching, because I kind of go back and forth with that. I love the idea of just not putting that burden on the artist to figure out where to get those matching dollars. On the other hand, I don't know how I feel about the GBPAC always going it alone with art in the community. I would love it if we could maybe incentivize a way to have partners in the community also fund art.
Well, in this outline, it says maintain that the larger ask will be leveraged with outside dollars.
Okay.
So it's making an objective incentive to bring dollars in, but it's not making it a mandatory thing.
But do we want to, I don't know, do we want to make it mandatory?
Well, it's
I guess if
mandatory now.
I knew, like, if it wasn't mandatory, then I wouldn't have any drive
Yeah.
to search for it.
Or maybe we award a larger amount when there is a partner.
Well, we can definitely have on the application that asks, you know, that have outside dollars to be matched are going to be given more points or something. We could put that as a objective part of the application. But I think this is a huge obstacle. What
It
we're
is.
doing with public art is we're trying to remove obstacles. So this is a major obstacle for any artist, specifically those who, you know, aren't professional or, you know, don't have the
Sure.
networks.
But if we could push other organizations in the community to also fund, that would be something
Definitely.
very
I mean, the
good to
PAC
do.
is going to have limited resources.
Mhm.
They're
Always.
always fundraising, so do
Mhm.
you want your buck to go further?
Well,
I
that's
mean,
the
part of
thing,
that's, do you
so-
want your dollar to go further? I mean, you said Madison's pretty much matching, right?
Yeah, but, I mean, it's
Is
not
it
like...
case by case, or?
Not an expert on this.
The Blink program is not matching.
The Blink program is not, they have other bigger projects that, you know, the city puts in X amount of money, or now that there's finally a percent for art ordinance.
There you go.
And can you
But
just
they-
please state your name and address?
Yeah, we should open the
Sorry,
floor.
I'm Ann
Oh, yeah, I'm
Katz.
sorry, yes.
Motion open the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, sorry, Ann,
I'm
go
Ann
ahead.
Katz, I'm Director of Arts Wisconsin, 451 North View Street, Madison, Wisconsin, 53703.
Thank you, Ann, sorry.
Anyway, every public art program that I know of, even though
We did.
all ones that are, even though they're based in cities or counties, I'm taking my picture, Alice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I do.
There's some kind of, there's money that goes
Photo
into
bomb.
it from outside sources, whether it's corporate or something else. Usually it's corporate.
So, this is something that the GBPAC will have the autonomy to allocate dollars towards any project that we deem necessary. So, if there's a project that they're not bringing money to the table with, we will have the autonomy to say, thank you, but you need to come back with some dollars. However, it's a project that, it just looks like this person's not going to be able to raise some money, or this group isn't going to be raising money, we just really want it to work, then we also have that autonomy. So I think this just gives us another tool.
The only thing I'd say is, so someone comes to you with $100,000, who gets to choose the art?
Well, yeah, that opens up.
That's a whole other part of this question.
Yeah, right.
If somebody puts in a big chunk of money, what effect do they have on
That would
what
be-
the art looks like?
That would be a showcase program when we're talking about the annual grants program. And
Okay.
the annual grants
But
program.
even the
is-
showcase,
Yeah.
even the showcase, you have to decide how much
Definitely.
influence somebody, how objective and impartial it is.
Totally, yep. So we're talking about up to $5,000, which isn't that much.
Or 10 over the next.
Or 10 over the next 5 to 10 years, yeah. So I think this would be a progressive move. This is something that not a lot, it's not practiced as often with people, like that are in Green Bay. Certainly Green Bay, maybe Wisconsin, it's not practiced that much, but it is happening in other places. Portland, as you probably know,
They don't match.
they don't match. There is a program that they do match. There's another program where they don't. Seattle,
We
there's.
also have 2% designated for art.
It's all about resources.
That's
right?
great.
Whereas we have
So,
none
again-
currently.
Yet.
Yeah, but we didn't, where did that go? Didn't we put that in for?
We're working on it.
Oh, okay.
It's in the
It
works.
took Madison like 20 years to do it, so.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Percent for
We're in the works.
It's not gonna take that long.
No.
No,
No.
I guarantee.
So if that's a hang-up,
Progressive
we can make an
index.
amendment. Otherwise, the motion is on the table to pass as is.
I think for now, I'm okay with passing it.
It's just a guideline, we can always tweak it later, so I don't know.
Because this is not written in stone, right?
Yeah.
No, this is not.
I just added another portion to it though, because there's nothing about maintenance. All about maintenance.
Well, we're not all about maintenance. Part of us is about
We
maintenance.
need to also think
The
about
only way you're gonna
maintenance.
sell anything, at least with the city, is if we have a maintenance plan.
Yep.
Yep, okay.
So
That's
I
always been a
just
big
wrote
issue.
in like, it's like $10,000 to $20,000 a year designated towards like a maintenance budget. And then,
And that makes sense because it's sustainability, you gotta sustain it, so that.
I would change that to
also
a
in here.
percentage. Because like if for only make $50,000 in a year or something, bunch of that will come out for Laura's, or for the arts coordinator position, and then we take $10,000 to $20,000. So maybe we should say a percentage of annual expenditure from the GBPAC. Does that make sense, or do we want to stick with?
We just
the
don't know
number?
what the number is, that's
Right.
the problem.
Right,
yeah.
Because we really haven't had a lot of maintenance on Life of the River.
yeah. Right.
GBNLC has to maintain that.
So if we want to have
And
something.
maybe it's not like every year, but just to have a pool of money available. That
Okay.
if need be, if something does go wrong, we have that money. Because it's really gonna help with any project that we propose, saying like, who's gonna maintain it?
Mhm.
Well, we'll maintain it, we have X amount of dollars available,
So we want to have a line in
Not
there that
number.
acknowledges maintenance.
yeah.
Do we need
Which
a number with it though?
is in there.
Oh, it's already in there?
What's in the strategic plan, we just don't have
A dollar amount?
a
allocated?
dollar amount.
I'd feel more comfortable not putting a dollar amount on there. Does anybody have? No? Okay.
We can maintain as it is.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table to pass this as is. There's already maintenance in the strategic plan. There's a motion?
We're just amending. I motion.
I motion.
Is there a second?
He seconded already.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Oh,
Opposed?
we gotta vote.
Oh, all in favor, aye, okay.
There we go.
So do I even call the motion, like verbally?
Yeah.
I do, I still
Yep,
do?
it's just
Yeah.
a vote that's taken
Okay.
on the pad.
So all in favor?
Well,
We just
Well,
voted.
you just vote after that, you don't have to.
Oh, so I don't have to say
Motion
all
and a
in
second and then.
favor?
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
motion second.
And everybody vote, yep.
Got it. Then where does it tell me that it passed or not?
It doesn't.
They need to say it at
They-
the end there.
Yeah,
Oh,
they'll inform us how the vote went. Everybody voted?
Yep. It's passed 3-1.
passed 3-1, okay. So the next motion, or the next item is discussion with Ann Katz, Executive Director with Arts Wisconsin. Floor's already open. Ann?
Gosh, just, how long do I have? You have to finish at 9?
Well, we have to open, do we need to open the floor?
The floor's already
It's
been
already
open.
been open.
We haven't closed it yet.
Right.
Should we have
I
closed
was
it
saying,
for a
do we need to do
new?
that to?
We
well,
can-
need
Yeah, you need to close it before we
vote.
vote.
Oh.
Are
You
you
can't vote
voting?
with the floor open.
You're not,
Is that right? Okay.
Are you
Well,
voting on something
we already
that I said?
voted. We voted on the last motion.
okay.
So what I should have done is close the
Close the
floor,
floor,
hold
then
the
vote.
vote, reopen the floor.
I'm so bad at this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Motion to open the floor?
Well, do we
Close
technically
the
really
floor.
have to close that? Motion to close the floor, second.
Is there a motion to close the floor?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Very good. Can I get a motion to open the floor?
We're good with voting, Frank?
Yeah,
Do we
we're
vote?
good with-
Okay, yeah, motion open.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Okay, very good.
Hi, Ann.
Hi, Ann.
Hi. Do you need a motion for all of you to go around the table and introduce yourselves? All of you?
Would you like us to?
Yes, because I don't know all of you.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm Kent.
Right, I know you.
Hi, I'm Matt Buchanan. I work for the city in economic development.
Great.
Alex Zacharias.
Bethlehem.
Paul Gall with the Civic Symphony of Green Bay.
Oh,
Randy Scannell, City Alder.
Great. And I'm Cheryl Renyer-Wig, I'm the Assistant Director, Community and Economic Development.
excellent.
I'm not sure.
Public Arts Coordinator.
How long do I have? Do I have 5 minutes? I mean,
Yes.
I can
Yeah.
talk for, hours, but.
Definitely at least 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for your work. Thanks for the intelligent deliberation. I get a real kick out, I actually do get a real kick out of sort of watching the process at work. Even though I'm really bad at all of those open floor, closed floor, all those things.
Parliamentary procedure.
Yeah, thank God I don't have to do it, I run a nonprofit. I do have to figure out the Roberts Rule stuff.
Yeah.
I also got a real thrill coming off the elevator and seeing that the City Economic and Community Development Office has public arts stencil on the door, so on the wall. So that's great, because you have probably already discussed this, but there are not that many cities that have public arts commissions. There are a growing number, but it's still a pretty small number of communities. Bless you. There are a lot of nonprofits out there, and there are a lot of organizations doing this work, but there are not a lot of cities at the moment that actually say, we are going to have a committee of community residents that think about, talk about, deliberate about, raise money for, help make happen the arts in any sort of way. So way to go, Green Bay. And I sometimes say that when I talk about the sort of changing nature of what's happening out there in the world of the arts and community and creativity, I say I don't mean even, but even Green Bay, which has the most recognizable brand in the entire universe, is thinking about and working on and putting resources towards the arts. And so that is another really great thing about Green Bay. So if you
We
don't-
are more than the Packers.
For the record,
Hey!
see,
Yeah.
I say
We
that.
love them, but we're more than the Packers.
Yeah, you would be sad if they weren't here.
That's
But
right.
on the other hand, there's a lot of, and that's always, that's been the case for a long time. You have this commission now, but certainly there's always been an art sector, I'll say robust, and that means that there's a lot of stuff going on that people are continue to try to do. If you don't know what Arts Wisconsin is, we're the state's community cultural development organization. We are all about the arts for everyone, everywhere in the state, and we're not a producing or presenting organization, we're a service organization. So we help the people, organizations, businesses, and communities that are doing the work like you all. So, so that means that we work with nonprofit organizations, actual artists and performers, and I don't want to use the word creatives because I hate that word actually, but creative people. And then municipalities and their public arts commissions and educators and the business world and government and politics and everybody who cares about Wisconsin's future, that's what I say. So we do conferences and workshops, and we have a huge amount of information. If you want to know something about the arts in Wisconsin, I can probably tell you, or I know who to talk to. The reason I'm here in Green Bay today is because we are having Kent and Kelly Strickland and me, although I'm just going to introduce you, testify in front of the Joint Finance Committee about two bills that are, well, a bill with Senate and Assembly, bills that are in front of the legislature to develop a creative economy development program with the state. And so as part of the budget discussion, even though it's not yet in the budget, although we're working on getting it in the budget, we want to make sure that when people are talking about education and transportation and all the things that they're going to talk about today, that they're also talking about the creative economy. So, so thank you for making that effort. It's fascinating political theater, that's for sure. I got to the university at 7:15 and I was there's a kind of like an informal waiting list, and I was number 35. So people, and we won't go on till like 12:31. So it's so we do everything from lobby the legislature to help people figure out how to make their living as an artist, or talk to nonprofits about their mission vision, which starts with how do we raise some money. All the work that you're doing. I have been pretty much everywhere in the state, many times, and it's very exciting what's going on in Wisconsin, even though it feels like a slog in so many ways. I'm in awe of the work and the enthusiasm and the energy that people are showing to try to do something. You know, we're kind of all learning as we go. And when we talk about the creative economy, which kind of means that whole fluid universe of people, organizations, businesses and communities making the arts happen. We're in a really interesting moment in time in history. When the old economy is there, you know, that's the 20th century economy, and we're kind of holding on to it for dear life because that's what we know, and our systems are built on that. So, you know, Green Bay not only being the home of the Packers, but you know, still is a port town, still is a paper-making town, just different than it was, and will continue to be different. And even all of those industries have to be as creative and innovative as anything else. And so that's that. And the new economy is kind of the creative, entrepreneurial, small business, independent people, the 1099 economy, you could call it, because it's all gigs. And it's happening, but our systems are not really built on it yet. And so we're kind of right here, sort of making it up as we go along, or building the car as we're driving it, or however you want to say it. So our job is to help sort of keep pushing that system so that it realizes that, yes, we must invest in XXX, and we must invest in our creative people and our creative resources, because that's really what our state is all about. Oh, hi, Jeff.
Came to the wrong meeting, sorry. It's okay.
See ya.
Good to see you.
So I say that I've been, so right now, given that we know we're not going to go back to the pre-2008 economy, we finally have realized that, right now is really exciting because you can't stop that creative spirit, and you can't ignore it. And so I have testified in front of Joint Finance many times. We've been working on this bill for a few years. Keep moving forward with it, and everybody gets it. It's not that they don't get it. It's just that we know what the paper-making industry is. We know what Foxconn is. We know all of those things very well, and we're comfortable with them. But we are not so necessarily comfortable with this creative economy thing. What does that mean? But again, the world is changing. Green Bay has a public arts Commission. Even Wisconsin Dells, which has the other most recognizable brand in the entire universe, has got a downtown arts district and is working on adding that to their tourism mix, because not people want to go to the water parks and then they want to go have a manicure or something. So, and then they want to see some art and buy some art. So I say that right now I've been talking about the creative economy since the last millennium. And now the times are catching up with the message. And so that's really exciting. And, and the numbers are growing. I have some information which I'll give you before I leave, but, we're starting to figure out how to quantify all of this. The intangible is obvious. The reason that the arts are important is because the arts are important, right? Because humans have to express themselves. We can't stop that creative spirit. So we know that, and that's really why the arts are important. And in this 21st century world, we can layer on the economic development aspect and the community development aspect of something like a public arts program. The fact that Green Bay has been cleaning up the Fox River and included a sculpture walk along the way. The fact that that the Packers are supporting the arts. The fact that I'm just sort of pulling examples out of my head here, but that kind of stuff it's not intangible, it's just we have to figure out how to measure it. So, for example, one of the data sets that I throw out a lot when I'm speaking is that the papermaking industry, at this point in time, has about 31,000 people employed statewide. That's a 20th century economy. The biotech industry has about 35,000 people employed statewide. That's a 21st century economy. Well, the creative industries, as defined by the U.S. Department of Commerce, has about 94,000 people employed just now.
Wow.
And imagine what we could do if we actually had a little bit of incentive where there could be anything from more robust projects to apprenticeships and mentorships to education that helps educate. Education for all students that helps educate all of our kids for this innovation economy. Imagine what we could be. We're already awesome, but imagine how much more awesome and stable we could be if there was this kind of program. So those are some of the phrases that we use to make the case that that this program should be established. Minnesota has gobs of money that they put towards the arts. That's because they have a sales tax amendment called the Legacy Amendment, which the voters passed in 2008, which puts money towards conservation, clean water, and the arts. So that's a kind of a different funding structure, but they still have a lot of money. Colorado has the Creative Industries Council. Louisiana has based a lot of its recovery from Katrina on local music and local food, because it's all connected, local food, local art. So a lot of places are way ahead of us. And so we are making the case that we have the resources. We have just as many great things as Michigan or Minnesota or anywhere has, and why we should be investing in them. So I will say that people get it. They just have to be convinced that it's okay to support it with money. Everybody gets it. Everybody loves the arts. It's now, let's put the money towards it. So Wisconsin has a very long and proud history of the arts springing from the grassroots. That has to do with the Wisconsin idea, our progressive traditions. So we carry on that legacy of people involved in the arts, whether they call themselves artists or whether they don't. I do not get into conversations about what is art or who's an artist, because that's not my job. My job is to help everybody be creative in some way and help communities benefit from them. So, again, that's a very, so it's an exciting time. It's very difficult. I will not deny that. I mean, but it's difficult for everybody. It's not like the arts are something special. The arts are special, but it's not like figuring out where to find the money for a public art program is different than, it's the same thing as finding money for the arts education program at the schools or for anything that is benefiting the community. There's just a lot of slogging going on.
Yeah.
But I can only thank you for the work you're doing and call on me as a resource.
Thank you for the work you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Questions? I mean, yeah, so I've just thrown a lot of stuff at you. Questions?
I have one. So, so you've had your position for some time?
24 years.
24.
The first and only director this organization has had.
That's
We're
awesome.
on our third name.
And where would you say Wisconsin is right now as far as its arts identity? Like as far as
That's a really good question. There's the Packers, and there's the Dells.
Yeah.
And there's
Capitol.
Cheeseheads, and there's the Capitol.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times people kind of say to me, "Oh my God, how are the arts doing in Wisconsin?" You can tell I'm a theater person. Because our per capita funding of the Wisconsin Arts Board is very low. But people don't know the story of Wisconsin, and so, you know, I'm like a proselytizer. I'm out there being a champion all the time, as are you all. Because when people think of Green Bay, they think of the Packers. They don't necessarily think of the fact that there are many, many talented and creative people here, and that there's a public, I mean, all of those things. So, I mean, the answer is complicated, but I think we have a lot of opportunity to keep promoting it. For example, one of the things I'm working on for next year is the Democratic National Convention in Milwaukee, which is going to be a huge opportunity for Milwaukee to show itself off. And there's a lot of opportunity for the arts. There must be a huge opportunity for the arts to be part of it. So Americans for the Arts, which is our national partner in this kind of work, they have a program called Arts Vote, and they infiltrate the presidential campaigns. So they go to Iowa, they go to New Hampshire, they go to the conventions. They would be doing the same thing if it was the RNC here.
Right.
But that's going to be a big moment for Milwaukee on the national and international stage, and Wisconsin. I mean, you know, that is a way. So we're already kind of working on getting arts things to happen, and on all levels and people involved. And so, you know, I think that Wisconsin is sort of a hidden gem in many ways. I mean, I came from New York, but although a long time ago, I knew nothing about Wisconsin. I didn't care about Wisconsin. It was not on my radar screen. And here I've made a great life here. And so people, you know, people still say, where do you live? What? We have all the assets we need to really be a huge powerhouse. We just have to keep, we have to keep telling ourselves and telling other people about that.
Yep.
Right, Milwaukee has to stop wanting to be Chicago.
Yeah.
Just not to pick on Milwaukee.
Any
Everybody wants to be, you know, Eau Claire. Madison wants to be Austin.
Right. That's interesting.
You want the Mile of Music here. I mean, you know, I mean, it's like everybody wants something else. But what you're doing is saying there are really cool things in Green Bay, and we are going to make the most of them. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And you know what's it took artists to make this commission happen.
Yes, that's the beauty of, and that's the beauty of it. It's like the grassroots.
So,
It's like, hello city,
yeah.
please do this.
So the artists already know what's out there, and you're right, we just have to quantify it and educate the rest of the community.
And it's not, there's never going to be a moment where we've
Right.
educated everyone and we can relax, right? And take a rest. I mean, there's always going to be another person who thinks Green Bay, Packers, or another 500 people who think that. But what you said really points out the grassroots nature of the spirit that we have here, that people didn't sort of sit around saying, well, the city doesn't do anything for the arts. The city said, hey, city, you need to do something for the arts, get to it. And what didn't happen overnight, and it's still a work in progress, right? But the fact that you have a public arts commission is a testimony to the fact that that the people are speaking, and that the city cares enough to actually investigate it, and you'll keep developing it over time. You know, speaking of Madison, I did have jobs before this. One of my jobs before this was to be the arts coordinator for the city of Madison, except I wasn't even called that. I was an LTE in the Parks Department. That's where they stuck me.
Okay.
And I kind of worked on some grants and then some public art things. And, you know, over time, people kept pushing it, and now there's a fully fledged position, very overworked in the planning department. There's a body of work. There are funding programs. I mean, it's still not enough, but it's a lot, and it is because we didn't just say, okay, stick this in the Parks Department with an LTE position. Let's have an actual robust program that that's a word to use, infiltrates what the city is doing. So it can be done.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Here, I'll just pass out my information. I always take my propaganda with me, even in the world of no paper. You know, we talk about the 10 reasons to invest, not in the arts, but in the creative sector. Just enough. And then I have magnets too, not magic. It's, the job for all of us is to not talk about art. I mean, talk about art. Here's what I say. It's not about the arts. It is about the arts. But it is about that creative spirit, and the more that you can do with, wow, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, it would.
The more
I'm
that
also
you
surprised
can
it did
do with
stick.
saying, yes, it's about a work of art, and it's about showing the creativity in Green Bay and helping people interact with the arts. That's the message that you will keep promoting over time, so.
Well, thank you very much
Thank you for
coming.
that. I'm
Taking
glad
your time
that it all
out.
worked out. Kelly,
Yeah, so
Have
Kelly's not
marching
here.
orders?
She played a role in getting us signed up this morning, which is why she wasn't able to join us via phone.
there's several steps along the way that you actually get to be on the docket to speak, and
By
somebody
test.
had to be there at 8:30 to sign, to hand in the hearing slips. So Kelly did that.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it.
That's good.
Yeah,
that
I know,
worked out
otherwise
well.
I'm like, I
Right.
can't make it, sorry.
Okay, thanks, Ann.
All right, thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you very much.
So I will probably be in the back of the room
Okay.
whenever you get there,
Yep,
but
and you're thinking around 12, after 12?
if for some reason it seems like it's gonna be before that, I'll text you, but
Thank you.
I don't think it's gonna be
Okay,
before that.
very good. Thank you, Ann. Is there a motion to close the floor?
Motion to close the floor.
Thank you all.
All in
Thank
favor?
you, Ann.
Hi.
Aye.
Hi.
Right.
All opposed? Very good, thank you. Okay, so moving right along with the chairman's report, I was just gonna bring up a few things going on at the joint finance, but Ann took care of that. And I just wanted to mention that as commissioners and as liaisons, we're charged with like thinking ahead and thinking forward, like how can public arts become more robust? And, anytime we have ideas that we want to formalize and discuss, you can either go to me, the chair, or we can go to Laura, and we can get those things moving, So, we're creating movement inside the city, but it also can come from any of you. So just be aware of that, and we're looking for that, because you each bring a different perspective and narrative in the arts community. So, thanks, everyone. So, that's all I got.
As far as what I have, we've been approved for fiscal sponsorship through the Community Foundation, so they'll kind of be acting as a basically temporary nonprofit status until we get our 501c3 approved. I received a letter from the IRS saying that our application has been received, and it'll either get set, they split them off into two groups. One of them, it's like all your information is in, we don't have any other questions, it'll be reviewed within like the next 90 days. The second category is you don't have all the information, we still have questions, we'll maybe get to it in like 180 days. I don't know what category we're in, but it's at least someone has received it and it's been processed, so we're waiting. But until then, we have the fiscal sponsorship through the Community Foundation, so we can start fundraising.
Yeah.
I just read that
Yeah,
the Community Foundation received a very substantial
Yep, I saw that too.
donation, that, we should approach them as well.
It's going entirely to the GBPAC.
Wouldn't that be good? It was like $21 million total. It was a $5 million
Yes, it
anonymous
was.
donation, right? And then,
Wow.
yeah, it was another donor, but.
Very crazy, okay.
Yeah, so, and which will allow them to set up an endowment to actually just spend the interest on that
Right.
money.
Yeah.
Which is the bomb, I mean, that's.
That's a crazy
phenomenal.
town,
So-
yeah.
That's sustainability.
That is.
Exactly.
Cheryl had briefly mentioned it before, but those community development block grant beautification funds we talked about at our last meeting, we're going to be utilizing that towards artistic bus shelters, so producing vinyl to adhere to the bus shelters. I'm working on the call right now. I actually have a draft that I have to have you, and I don't know if RDA has to approve that too, or just Patty, but it has to go through a few channels yet. But we can expect some bus shelter art, hopefully.
Cool. looking bus shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So will it be similar to the bus, or the wraps that are going in on military? Like that type of material and?
Well, they have different grades of vinyl. I have to talk to Patty yet to see. I've gone through the list of shelters that she gave us, and I selected the ones that are eligible, that are in the areas that we can actually work in. And based on where they're at and kind of how the shelter is set up, we may have to get like a perforated vinyl, just so you can see through it.
Right, right.
So I'm gonna send that off to her, and she can kind of get back to us, because that will adjust the cost of the vinyl a little bit.
Okay.
But I think I have
Cool.
like 10, 20 locations set up. It's equal spread between west side and east side, so I think if we
Wow.
maybe pull a little bit from both. Also, we're gonna be getting an intern.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet. From where?
From UW Green Bay.
Okay.
She reached out to me twice now and is very interested in interning with us. So she'll be starting, I think, beginning of June. We haven't worked out her hours just yet. It's a work in progress, but I'm
100 hours a week.
more than me. Get rid of me.
No, she's just an intern.
advisor.
But
Is Ellen
she's-
Rosewell her advisor?
Yep.
Okay, she's awesome.
Yep. But she's going to be helping develop a public art tour and kind of some programs and pamphlets to go along with that. And I'm also going to have her kind of focus in on doing a sweep of all our pieces again. We had the students from Marcelo Cruz kind of go through and do a collection of all the pieces. I'm going to have her sweep back through and kind of check in and do a status report on all the pieces too.
Cool.
Where's that map? We got that map somewhere, right?
It's on the website.
It's on the website, okay.
Yep. So if there are other things that you think of that we would maybe like her to kind of focus on while she's with us, let me know. And then also on Monday, we're gonna be installing David Windy's piece out at Bay Beach. If anyone is free and wants to check it out, that'll be happening at 9 on Monday, unless it's raining or snowing.
Can you send an email out on that, just to?
Yep,
remind
also
us.
Bridget Zilke from the Kohler Foundation is gonna be coming to check out that install too, because we received a grant from them for the Rotating Arts program, so she's gonna come check out the install too.
Great.
We should do like a press release on that. We should
Yeah,
remember
totally.
Celestine,
Yeah.
get some media there.
What is they give a grant? What kind of grant?
They awarded us a $3,000 or $5,000 grant towards the Rotating Arts program.
Oh, really?
So that can be used to maintain the program through
Cool.
artist
The Kohler
stipends.
Foundation?
Yep.
Awesome.
Through artist stipends or installing more pads, or another thing which we need is signage for our rotating art pads, because we have no signage at any of them right now. So nobody knows who's doing it or what they are.
Yeah.
Is that
Signage is important.
Can we just in an agenda item? Could we make a motion to get that going, or is that who would do that?
Today,
We can just
No,
put it in,
no.
right?
Next month, or
Yeah.
or can we just do that behind the scenes staffing?
to get what going, the signage?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't need to make a motion, that's part of the program. I would think that's part of the program then.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
discussed it
Yeah.
a couple months
We just
ago.
need to order the signage or whatever, get it installed,
Okay.
but I
Yeah,
feel like you've already approved that
we did.
through the Rotating Arts
Yeah.
program, so.
Well, that's great.
That's
Okay.
all that I have.
Monday. Okay, and the Friends of the Green Bay Committee, we are getting members, and that's starting to take shape.
This is gold.
Yeah.
This-
Yeah, this is
You know, it's
really
really
good.
hard, and she's so true, it's so hard to quantify quality of life initiatives. Like in raising money for neighborhoods too, like, you know that people live a better life when they're more involved in the community, but it's hard to quantify that.
Yep.
Numbers for people, but
Yep.
these are some great things, talking about improved healthcare and social impact. And,
That's right.
I mean, we're gonna pull some of these
I have
to
a
do our
whole
fundraising, so.
arts wheel I'll send to you. It's from Americans for the Arts, but it focuses on like how arts improves
Right,
everything.
Yep.
right, so we can actually start making the asks now.
Giddy up.
You know, one of the things as a teaching artist, they ask me, well, why do you teach youth arts?
Right.
It's to complete the person.
Right,
And that's the same thing for the community, it's to
Mhm.
complete the community. It's
Mhm.
missing,
Yeah.
right.
you know.
That's an interesting perspective, yeah. Okay.
I'm missing?
You're part of the solution.
No comment.
Okay, thank you very much, Laura. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have to vote on that one? No, okay. Great, thank you very much, everybody.
Yep, thank you.
Feel free. Join us at UWG.